Welcome back to another video here on my channel. My name is Simran, and today we're going to be talking about oh god, there's hair in my face. I can feel it. I can't see it. Okay, take two. Hello everybody, welcome back. My name is Simran, and if you've been following me along, I've been very open and vocal about my breakup process and breakup journey. And there are a few things that I've learned from that process that I really want to share with you all. And I know I shared tidbits of this and stuff like that, but everything that I share is basically things I've learned from being single, but this is just, it's a different version of that. One of the best things that I learned about being single is to actually be single. Does that make sense? Take time to figure out who you are, figure out what you like, and figure out what it is that you want to do. I cannot tell you how beneficial it is to take a moment to really understand yourself and figure out what it is that you want for yourself and be able to create basically timelines, paths, goals, and all of that based off of solely what it is that you want and not being influenced by somebody else's goals, dreams, timelines, etc. It makes such a huge difference. Now, going kind of just trickling off of that, another thing I learned is how to be myself again. Now, you don't realize this when you're in a relationship, but so many of your interests and free time and things you want to do in your free time kind of just get jumbled all together when you're in a relationship, and that's totally normal, right? That's expected to happen once you recommit yourself or commit yourself into a relationship. However, when you do take a step away from that, it's kind of weird at first. You kind of don't know what you're doing. You kind of have to learn what you want to do again, and so much of navigating through that for me was kind of going back to doing things. I always asked myself, what is something that I always wanted to do but never did? And I kind of just went from there. I did so many things, in this time span where I don't know why I wouldn't do it before, but it was just this newfound level of confidence and sureness within myself that allowed me to continuously take leaps and go forward that, I don't know, I guess it trickled, from this breakup. But it was just things that made me feel like me, it made me feel confident, it made me feel sexy, it made me feel okay, I'm not doing this for anybody aside from me. And some of those things, I took a belly dancing class for an entire month, and that was so fun. And that was something I've been wanting to do since I was 14 years old. So it's just I finally did it, I wanted to travel, I traveled, I wanted to live by my own and stuff like that. So just stuff like that, just take a minute to really figure out who you are again on your own without the influence of someone else. Because whether you realize it or not, when you are in a relationship, so much of who they are and what they like gets jumbled in with what you think you like and what you think you want. And some of it's true, and sometimes you take really good traits from that, but oftentimes you kind of just do have to go back and figure out okay, who am I, who is Simran, and what is she like? So figure that out. Something else that's huge and important is to do hobbies and, pick up a new skill. Like I said, I took up belly dancing, go, I don't know, make plans with friends all the time or something like that. For me, the hobby I picked up was picking up this camera, right? That's kind of something that I took on, and I've been pretty consistent, I'd say, in terms of just once I figured out okay, I truly enjoy making videos. I actually enjoy sitting down and filming and thinking about the stuff. I realized okay, this is something I want to be consistent in and something that I want to share. But once I came to that conclusion, it's something that I just kind of tried to stay consistent with. And from that perspective too, it does help you remember who you are. It helps you center yourself. It helps you bring out this creativity. Doing hobbies, I think essentially helps bring out your creativity. Do things that you like to do. That's kind of the point of this video. Once you're single, do things you like to do. That's it. That's the video. Something else that I learned once becoming single, and this one's big, this is a big Simran thing, is that I learned patience. I don't know how, I don't know where, I don't know why, but all of a sudden I just became a patient woman, and it's been very refreshing, I will say that. I feel I don't necessarily know where this newfound patience has come from. And that's what it is. It's newfound. Ask anybody who knows me. I am not a patient person, but it's trickled in so many other places in my life too. I think it came from learning to be patient with myself. I think I wanted to kind of go through my healing process as fast as I could and be like, okay, I just want to be okay. I just want to be okay. And then once I realized, it's like, no, like this is a journey. And like within that journey, you're going to be finding things that like, makes you feel good. You're also going to be like bringing up things that don't always feel good. And you have to go through the motion of those waves. Like, and that's literally it. Like once you learn how to ride through your emotions and understand that it's a journey, and the journey is where all the learning happens, and that's where you get like the most beneficial lessons and these like life-changing, altering moments. That's it. That's where you're getting the knowledge, the wisdom, the lessons, the healing. Like that's where all of that is coming from. Something else that's huge, and I don't know if enough people take the time to do this, especially if you've been in a relationship since you've been at a young age for such a long time. And I know, and don't get me wrong, I know it's possible to do all of these things in a relationship. I'm not saying that like I didn't do any of the things that I wanted to do while in a relationship. However, it is different. Like, oh my God, it is so noisy. Sorry. So, there is just a difference. Like you're relearning how to do these things without like the love, support, backbone, etc. of like, a person that you've been with for forever. And something else that's huge about this is your timeline. Like, when you think about major life-changing moments, right? Like whether that's starting a family, getting married, like these types of things, it's no longer about like what you two had thought about together. It's kind of just like, okay, like me, like what is it that like, when is it that I think I'll be ready to get married? When is it that I think I'll be ready to have children? When is it that I think I'll be able to, move and do things? Like, it's just like you just have a different perspective from these things. And I think that is so much power to have for yourself, especially as a woman, to really understand that like you are in control of your own timeline, and it doesn't need to be influenced by anyone else. It doesn't need to be influenced by what society wants you to do. It doesn't need to be influenced by what like, your family thinks you should be doing. I really want to emphasize that. And I think sometimes growing up in like coming from like, a South Asian diaspora or like, South Asian background, or honestly like if you're a person of color, like that trope is like heavily like, brought onto you. And I know especially in the South Asian background, like, it's like this idea to settle down, get married, have kids. It is so ingrained in our culture. And to kind of say like, I don't know if that's something that I want is so outlandish, and it's often not seen in the best light, right? So, but I want you to know that like, it's still okay for you to have that option. It's okay for you to like think that you don't want to go the traditional route of like getting married, having kids, etc. Am I on that route? I don't know. It's still something I'm completely figuring out, but that's kind of my point. It's for me to figure out. So take that how you please. Last but not least, I think the biggest thing I learned since being single is learning how to make conscious decisions. And even choosing to be single within itself was a conscious decision. And that might sound so vague and kind of, it doesn't make sense. Maybe it's kind of just like, well, yeah, duh. But if there's anything that I've learned, like intentional conscious decision making leads to getting you exactly what you want. And you don't realize it right away. But I think the more intentional that you can be with what it is that you want, the more conscious you are and the more present you are when making these decisions for yourself and your life, the better your life will be. Is kind of how I see it. And it's kind of been my experience, and it's just, how things have been going. So I'm sorry I didn't put out a video last week. I have been extremely busy. There's so much going on in my life right now. So many good things. I cannot wait to share it with you all. But we're getting there. I'll share it with you all soon. But thank you for watching this video. Make sure you tune in next week for another video. I will post on time because remember I said consistency is something I'm trying to work on. Consistency is a goal of mine, and just because there is other things happening in my life right now, that doesn't mean I shouldn't be taking time for myself to work on one of my hobbies, right? So that's what we're doing. Anyways, if you're single, if you're newly single, if you're still healing through a relationship, understand it's a process and you're gonna get through it and you're gonna be fine, and I'm here for you. So I'll see you guys next week.